All right. I'm learning more and more about Zoom every week. Now I can see all of your names. Welcome. All right. Cool. So we'll let others continue to join, but welcome for all of you that are here today. I see, yes, Sharon, you're welcome for having the webinar. We already have questions coming in. So I am going to do a little bit of an introduction. I'll share some logistics about where to ask your questions today and kind of what focus we'll be trying to keep our webinar based around. And then, yeah, we'll have it be really organic, just a Q&A with really, I'm here to answer and support you guys in whatever way I can. So if we haven't met yet, my name is Danielle. I'm a registered herbalist with the American Herbalists Guild. I'm a holistic nutritionist. I'm also the instructor of mycology at the Colorado School of Clinical Herbalism. And at Four Sigmatic, I'm our national educator. And if you've been joining us for the past couple webinars, this is our third weekly Friday webinar. And the first one was about why you need functional mushrooms for immune support. So we talked about our top functional mushrooms and how they are immunomodulators, right? So these incredible allies that are not only safe and effective, but their traditional use is taken long-term, taken every day to build and to nourish the system, as opposed to these Band-Aids or short-term fix that temporarily stimulate your immune system. So really understanding why at this time, when we're all focused on our immune system and supporting ourselves, choosing things like functional mushrooms that can support us for the long run. And then if you joined us last week, we talked about a holistic approach to immune support and really honed in on stress and how when we're in a state of stress, it's really difficult for our immune systems to work optimally, right? When we're in this fight or flight, survival mode state, our immune system actually isn't working as optimally as it could be. And so where to bring on board allies like adaptogens, so some of our functional mushrooms as well as other plant-based adaptogens like ashwagandha and eleuthero. And then there were so many questions coming in on both of these webinars. And so I thought, okay, let's have a full live Q&A to just get right into it and answer all of your questions. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Please do not use the chat, but instead use the Q&A that you'll see at the bottom of your screen. And that's where you'll input all of your questions today. I also wanted to let you know that as a thank you for joining these webinars, I am creating special discount codes for all of you for 20% off to use. So I'll share that code at the end of our time together, and you can use that for a full week, so valid up until the end of the day next Friday on foursigmatic.com for 20% off any of your orders. And then last but not least, just a little PSA note. I do have to mention that I unfortunately am not your healthcare practitioner. So if you do have questions today that are about specific health concerns or about specific diseases, I do have to recommend checking in with your own healthcare practitioner. And then of course, always following the advice of the CDC and the World Health Organization. Okay, that's it. We're gonna jump right in. I have really awesome questions coming in already. The first is, do I have a favorite immune smoothie? And I'm so glad, Elizabeth, you asked this question. One of the products, I'm going to be bringing them up as it becomes relevant in our call today, are our Four Sigmatic plant-based proteins. This has been one of my favorite shelf-stable, super nutrient-dense go-tos over the past couple weeks. And we have a couple different flavors. The one that I brought out today is creamy cacao. But I've been doing an immune smoothie pretty much every day. And I've been using either our creamy cacao or peanut butter flavored protein. And what's so cool about this is there's not only 18 grams of plant-based protein, there's also 1,500 milligrams of functional mushrooms and adaptogens. So we're getting that double support of really supporting our immune systems as well as that stress response with 1,500 milligrams of these extracts. And then I usually will add an elixir to that as well. So this has been probably all of our favorite products lately, our Chaga elixir. And that also has 1,500 milligrams of straight chaga mushroom, as well as some rose hips, which is rich in vitamin C, also great for our immune system and helps to increase the bioavailability of these compounds in chaga. So I make, my kind of go-to immune smoothie is one of our Four Sigmatic protein packets, one of the elixirs. Lately it's been chaga all day. And then I use some nut milk. I've been really into this pea milk lately, as well as a mango, a banana. Sometimes I'll add some kale stems or whatever greens I have on hand. Great question. Sharon is asking, is there a place we can go to hear the earlier recordings? Yes, you can. If you are on our Four Sigmatic newsletter, I'm actually sending out the recorded webinars a day after that they go live so that you can watch them on YouTube. And Sharon, if you have not received those yet, feel free to reach out to support at Four Sigmatic and we'll get you the direct link so you can go back and watch those. Okay. So could you please talk about Mary Quinn? Thanks for your question here. Mary is asking, could you please talk about the combination of chaga, cordyceps, and lion's mane? So she's asking, do they act differently or activate in different ways when taken together? This is a phenomenal question, and there are certain similarities between all of our functional mushrooms. And so almost think of this like you and I. So we have certain similarities. We're spending our Friday afternoon discussing holistic ways to support our health, our wellness, our immune support, but each of us offers something slightly unique into the world, right? We each have our own quirks, our own hobbies, our own interests, but we clearly share some similarities. This is how I want you to think about our functional mushrooms. And so the mushrooms that Mary brought up, chaga, cordyceps, and lion's mane, and I'll throw reishi into that mix as well. So all of these mushrooms, if there's one umbrella that they would all fall within, so that they all have in common, is supporting our immune system. They're called our immune system and our stress response as well. So they're in this category of herbal medicine called adaptogens, and they're also called immunomodulators is one of their key actions. And so essentially what that means is both the adaptogenic quality of them as well as this immunomodulation quality is that they don't have a specific stimulating or depressing action in the body. They're actually working to find balance, to find equilibrium, to adapt to each body that takes them. And so this is really beneficial. In my previous life before Four Sigmatic, I had a clinical practice as an herbalist and worked with a lot of individuals with different autoimmune conditions. And this is why one of the main reasons I ended up focusing my practice on functional mushrooms, because of their way that they balance and stabilize different immune responses in the body. So really quick spark notes on that. If there's overactive immunity, which is often the case in people with autoimmune conditions, the functional mushrooms will tamper down that immune response to bring you back into this level of equilibrium. And if there's underactive immunity, so times that, you might be vulnerable or there's a cold or flu season going around, the functional mushrooms will literally activate and turn up your immune system to bring each body into their level of vitality. And so all the functional mushrooms have those qualities in common, and then each offer something unique and specific. So for example, with chaga, chaga is our superhero, rich in antioxidant properties, super immune supporting mushroom. Cordyceps is our get-going mushroom to really support with physical energy and endurance, right? Lion's mane offers that support to our brain. Lion's mane for the brain, our brain's best friend, a hug for your brain. And when you combine them, you can, yes, totally mix and match and combine your mushrooms. And I encourage you combining based on what you need. So perhaps, we offer different coffees with like one of our ground coffee. We put both chaga and lion's mane in this product. And so many Four Sigmatic products, you might not realize, we do mix and match and we do combine our mushrooms to create a certain effect. And so think about what you're looking for support with that day. Perhaps you really want to have a sense of physical energy. Maybe you're going on a run or you have errands to do, as well as you have a bunch of Zoom meetings or emails to bust out, I would encourage taking both lion's mane and cordyceps that day. So yes, Mary, take them together, mix and match. And then if you have more specific synergy questions, let me know and we can dive into that either on this call or offline. Okay, let's see. Is there such thing as having too many mushrooms in one day? Thanks for asking this, Nicole. So it's almost impossible to overdose on functional mushrooms because they don't have this direct action where they're pushing us in one direction or another, but rather you're looking for the optimal amount for your body. And this is always a tough question to answer because the amount that's right for me is almost 100% going to be different than the amount that's right for you. And so what I always encourage coming back to is paying attention to how you feel and starting with, if you're totally new to consuming functional mushrooms, starting with 1 serving of Four Sigmatic products a day for about 3 to 5 days, and then building up or down accordingly. So in every one of our products, we have either 500 milligrams of functional mushrooms, that's what's in a serving of our coffee, or 1,500 milligrams, so a big difference of dosage in our products like our Chaga elixir, our mushroom blend, and our protein. And so it all comes back to really listening to your own body, tuning in and discovering where you feel best. And I wish there was a more direct answer to this sometimes, but I have seen old, frail women that need 3 times as much functional mushrooms as a big, young, strong bodybuilder dude. So it really doesn't have a lot to do with, your weight or your age or your gender, but it's what your body is going through. And the best way to determine that is starting slow, building up, and continuing to monitor and adjust based on what your body needs. That's my biggest intention in all of this, in this webinar and in my work as an herbalist and an educator, is how can I support all of you to have the tools to listen to your own body as best as possible? Because whatever I say, your body is your true teacher. And so how can we get you more connected to what your body is telling you? And that's going to be your best guide, your best healer. So we'll keep going. All right. What is the number one, this is Isabella. Thank you, Isabella. What is the number one thing people should be focusing on for immune support? Is there a certain combination of products or a product from the conglomerate of products you have that you believe can provide us with the nutrients and support we need? This is a beautiful question. Thank you so much for asking it. And I'm going to be biased, but I will give you my opinion. If there was only one product you could take, what I would recommend. And then I also want to preface this with, you have all heard me say this, if you know me or have been in my webinars before, that the medicine doesn't work if you don't take it. And that sounds so silly, but it's true. And what I mean by this is I want you to think about what makes sense in your daily life. What do you already do? And how can you add something to support your immune system into your existing routine? So I'll tell you what I ideally would like you all to do, but more important is making it make sense in your life so it actually becomes sustainable. Because the way adaptogens and functional mushrooms work, they're not a quick fix, they're not a Band-Aid, they work over time. They build and they nourish the body. So where we really see results is taken consistently. And it's really hard to start new habits. And so what's more important is learning what are your own habits, what do you already do, and how can we find a way to improve upon those habits to create a better for you option every step of the way. That said, Isabella, if I had to choose one product for immune support right now, it would be our mushroom blend mix. So this is Four Sigmatic mushroom blend mix. It has all 10 of the functional mushrooms we use across our brand. So all of these mushrooms I've been bringing up: chaga, reishi, turkey tail, lion's mane, cordyceps, along with others, tremella, shiitake, maitake. It's an incredible, well-rounded mix of functional mushrooms. And the only ingredients are those 10 mushrooms and rose hips, which I mentioned earlier. We add rose hips because it's so rich in vitamin C. So we all know vitamin C supports the immune system, and it also helps potentize, so make these functional mushroom extracts more bioavailable to your body. So increasing the effectiveness of these mushrooms in your body with that rose hips, with that vitamin C. It's also in a bulk powder. So there's a little scooper in there, and I find it really versatile, really easy to use. So especially at this time, so many of us are in our kitchens, perhaps more than ever before. And this is one of our few Four Sigmatic products that has a really rich umami flavor to it. And so I've been adding it into every meal, pretty much any recipe I make, whether it's a smoothie or soup or hummus, a Buddha bowl. I made a dressing this morning that's on our Instagram, a green goddess dressing that I add this into. So I do find, going back to this idea, the medicine doesn't work if you don't take it. Most of us are cooking right now. We use some sort of spice. Keep this next to your salt and pepper. Add it in, whether you're cooking with it, add it in at the end. It's such a simple way to get 1,500 milligrams of total immune supporting functional mushrooms in whatever meal you're creating. Great question. Okay. So Darby, hopefully I answered your question as well about how I recommend using it in any way that you can think of. Really, the imagination is your limit. So as many things as you can think of, that's the way that you can use the mushroom blend mix, as well as other Four Sigmatic products. So perhaps you know this, but Four Sigmatic products don't need hot water to activate them or to receive the benefits from the product. We've actually already extracted them for you. And so this mushroom blend will be just as potent if you sprinkle it on your quinoa bowl, or if you dissolve it in hot water as the base for a soup or a stew. It's really what works for you. You're still going to get the same benefits, whether it's hot or cold, or in a raw hummus, or really in any way. It's all about what makes sense in your lifestyle, and then use it accordingly. Okay, so is there a functional difference between fresh mushrooms versus dried and processed mushrooms? This is Jeffrey. Jeffrey, thank you so much for asking this question. This is a really important one. And the answer is yes, there is a huge difference. So a couple things to talk about here. A fresh mushroom is, depending on the species of mushroom, can be 30 to sometimes up to 90% water. And so when we're talking about the amount of dosage or gram, there's a huge difference between a fresh mushroom, something that you would chop up and cook with in your kitchen, versus the extracts that we're talking about in Four Sigmatic products. And I encourage using mushrooms in all ways. Please cook with them. But really, when we're talking about these immune supporting benefits, or benefits that support our stress response or our brain, the mushrooms need to be extracted. And we talked about this a few weeks ago, but essentially, to make it simple today, mushrooms should never be eaten raw. I really never eat mushrooms raw. It almost, to me, I think of it as this gold mine, like this incredible golden nugget with all this incredible nutrition inside. And when you eat a mushroom raw, unprocessed, unextracted, your body can't access any of the gold inside of that nugget. This is a really silly metaphor that I'm thinking of on the spot. So it's not necessarily that a raw mushroom will hurt you. Of course, it depends on the species, but it's almost as if you're just eating fiber. Your body can't access all of the nutrition inside that actually gives these mushrooms their functionality, right? Their immune supporting properties, stress supporting properties. And so the key thing to look for is this word extraction. And Jeffrey, if you're curious about this, we'll talk offline. Email us, support@foursigmatic.com. But the important thing is the mushrooms need to be extracted, whether this is done through heat or through alcohol. There's a couple traditional ways to extract, but you need to have extracted mushrooms. The mushrooms need to be extracted for our bodies to access all of these nutritional compounds that we talk about. So big difference. Don't eat raw mushrooms if you can go about that. Even if you're cooking with them, make sure that you do cook with them, right? I think about old traditional Chinese medicine practitioners with big cauldrons full of different mushrooms and roots and barks that they're brewing for hours, if not days. And so the longer and higher heat that we could cook even our culinary mushrooms on, the better, the more effective and more medicinal they're going to be for our bodies. Okay, so Madeline is asking, are there supplements that interfere with the mushrooms that I should stay away from? So if you are on specific medications, definitely check in with your healthcare practitioner. There are a couple combinations, whether it's with food or with just there's synergy that happens when we combine different natural mushrooms, plants, etc. So for example, we've talked a lot today about vitamin C and ingredients that are rich in vitamin C. Like in our products, we use rose hips, but that's also, there's vitamin C in citrus. So think about lemons and oranges and grapefruit. And if you want to make a tonic with some of your Four Sigmatic elixirs and some sort of citrus, that's going to potentize the functional mushroom extracts in there. There's also things that will make it slower for your body to absorb those compounds. So synergy and formulation is a really exciting full topic, but what I want you to understand is we've created and designed products so that it's really easy. We've kind of done that work for you. So you can take a Four Sigmatic protein packet or an elixir and have the benefits, have this synergistic benefit just from kind of your pre-dosed Four Sigmatic serving. And then Madeline, yeah, if you do have specific questions, let us know. And yeah, we'll guide you. It's always tough because so many times I have to say legally, talk to your healthcare practitioner. And then people come back to me and say, but my healthcare practitioner doesn't know about reishi mushroom or chaga mushroom. So there's incredible herbalists out there as well who can guide your own kind of food meal plan and diet and supplements to really support your unique body. And I have an incredible repertoire of herbalists that I would love to recommend to you all who are accepting clients and can work with you remotely from wherever you are. So if you are interested in working with an herbalist and you have that feeling, oh, my healthcare practitioner doesn't know about these mushrooms, where else can I turn? I would love to be a resource and offer those herbalist names for you. Another great place to look, I'll just do a plug, is the American Herbalists Guild website. So you can actually go on there and it lists every registered herbalist, and you can look by location if you are wanting to see someone in your city or your state. That's a really great place to start and find a herbalist near you. Okay, so let's see. Which is better for immune support? I hear a lot about reishi mushroom, but Four Sigmatic talks a lot about chaga mushroom. And also, what is better? This is Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. What is better in terms of Four Sigmatic mushroom blend or chaga in terms of immune support? So a couple things here. Both reishi and chaga they're known as the king and the queen of mushrooms. So reishi is our queen of mushroom and chaga is our king of mushrooms. And they both greatly support the immune system. So they're both immunomodulators. They both have hundreds of different constituents that add to these immune supporting benefits. And while maybe we'll have different webinars where we focus just on one mushroom, but what I found and what we do at Four Sigmatic, it's difficult to lay out all of the benefits of each of these mushrooms. And so what we've done is we've created a character or a word to make it really easy to digest and understand when and why to take each mushroom. So yes, reishi is incredible for immune support, but reishi also supports our body's ability to unwind, right? This idea that supports occasional stress and deep sleep. And so we've given reishi this character of chill because of those additional benefits that reishi offers. With chaga is incredibly rich in antioxidant properties. We all know when we're in person, I always ask, when you think of someone who needs support with antioxidants, who comes to mind? And the typical answer I receive is everybody. And it's true. So antioxidants are really important for people that exercise a lot as we age, anyone exposed to a vulnerable environment. So whether that's smokers or people that are exposed to a lot of pollution, those that work in schools or hospitals or in airports a lot, these are really important categories when antioxidant properties are going to be beneficial. And so chaga really shines in that way. And because of that, we have toted chaga as our defend mushroom, right? This idea of your daily bodyguard. When your body is full of antioxidant properties, when your immune system is really strong, your body is not a host for whatever else is out in the world, right? You're your own daily bodyguard. So both reishi and chaga support the immune system in slightly different ways, right? So we have that direct antioxidant properties from our chaga, and with reishi, by supporting our stress response, it's actually allowing our immune system to function optimally, right? It's taking us out of a survival mode, fight or flight state to actually allow other very vital parts of our bodies, like our immune system, our digestion, our sleep, these other parts of being human that take a back seat when we're in survival mode. So when we're able to support our stress with the help of something like reishi, it's actually a very root-based way of allowing our immune system to step back up, to start working optimally again. So yeah, Michelle, that's kind of the different approaches. They're both supportive. And if you want to take both, I would recommend chaga in the morning and reishi at night. So taking chaga, maybe it's in your ground mushroom coffee in the morning, and then taking reishi, whether it's our mushroom cacao mix, right? This really delicious hot chocolate with reishi at night. But you could do both, right? And mix and match, or take something like our mushroom blend and have them both in one. Okay, so let's see. So many questions. Jason, what is considered a therapeutic dose for mushrooms? How many milligrams? So again, really pay attention to the type of mushroom that you're getting and whether or not it's been extracted. So I just want to set the stage. When we're talking about Four Sigmatic extracts and the milligrams, we're talking about the fruiting body, so the full mushroom itself. We're talking about mushrooms that have been log grown or wild harvested, so grown on the woods that they've evolved to grow upon. This is something so important, especially when we're highlighting ingredients like chaga. So much of what makes chaga are compounds from the tree that it's growing upon. So chaga primarily grows on birch trees. So compounds found in the bark of the birch actually get converted to make chaga a true chaga. And so we want to make sure, before even talking about milligrams, what is the part of the mushroom we're using? Ideally, it's the fruiting body. Where has my mushroom been grown? Ideally on wood or log as they've evolved to grow upon. And then how have they been extracted? So making sure that they've been extracted in at least one way, if not two ways. Now we're seeing multiple ways. And then from there, a starting dose is between 500 and 1500 milligrams, but you can build up. I personally have about 4 to 6 grams of mushroom extracts a day, but I've been taking these mushrooms daily for almost a decade. So my body's really used to it, and that's what dose works for me. So again, listen to your body. Start with 1 to 2 servings of Four Sigmatic products, and then continue to build up as it feels right in your body. Okay, so can I bake with the products like chaga in my chocolate chip cookies? Absolutely. We are all baking it in our kitchens so much lately, and I would really encourage adding these in whatever way it's fun and creative. So definitely bake with them. Okay, so Sharon is asking, when you are cooking with the blend, do you need to add more based on the number of people who are going to consume the meal? Yeah, that's a great question. If you are cooking for yourself, consider 1 serving, say, of the mushroom blend. If you're making a meal for your family and you want everyone that's eating that meal to receive the 1500 milligrams, then yeah, dose up accordingly. That's absolutely fine. Okay. So our time is up. There's so many more. I'm going to answer one more quickly. Molly is asking, she's heard that you can avoid that you should avoid mushrooms when dealing with yeast infections or candida. It seems like all of the benefits of functional mushrooms would be helpful, not hurtful. Can you talk about this? So many of our functional mushrooms are actually very beneficial for kind of negative fungal issues like candida. For example, there's a lot of research with reishi and candida. So yeah, it seems sometimes that the first sound of this, it sounds odd, a mushroom fighting a mushroom. But when we think about other kingdoms, animals fight other animals within their own kingdom all the time. Same thing with our plant kingdom. There's beneficial plants and there's harmful plants. So really helps to zoom out, understand that there are negative types of fungi and there are incredibly beneficial fungi like our functional mushrooms. And so if you have further questions about this, definitely let us know. But it is important to recognize that what we're talking about is not these negative fungi, right? This is a vast kingdom, and these actually could be supportive for some of the issues that you might be told to avoid mushrooms for. Functional mushrooms are a whole different category that might actually be supportive based on what you're dealing with. So, okay, I wish I could keep going. This was so helpful. The questions keep coming in. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me today. I, of course, want to give you our discount code. So you can use LiveQA20 for 20% off any order on foursigmatic.com, valid up until next Friday. So that's LiveQA20. And of course, if you have any other questions that I didn't answer, please keep emailing us, support@foursigmatic.com. Let me know what else you want to see, what other topics you want covered, and how we can continue to support you. Thank you all again, and have a wonderful weekend.